So today I want to revisit one of my favorite Android tablets that I've ever reviewed, and that is the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2. And this tablet is one of my favorite tablets not because it's the best tablet in the world, but it's simply because it's such a good value. I think a lot of YouTubers honestly have lost the value of that because a lot of them are only reviewing $1,000 devices. A lot of people only want to spend $300 or $400 on a tablet. And that's where this device did come into my life, and man, I was so impressed with it then because it has an amazing OLED display, it has very good performance, and it's a really good tablet for the money. So with all that being said, let's get right into it and let's revisit the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2. So when you think about other Android tablets on the market, you might think of the Google Pixel tablet that released for $500. You might think of the OnePlus Pad for like $480. And even if you see those devices on sale for $400, that is very good. But if you look at this device, this is an OLED display with very good performance, and getting that for around $300. If you find this device on sale, check the links in the description. You will often find it around $350 or $300, and finding all of those specs for that price, I am telling you, this is a really good device to look at. So sure, there are some compromises with it. If you look at the back of this device, it's not going to be super impressive because it is made of some plastic. If you look at the front of the device, you are going to notice some bezels. So sure, there are some compromises here. You're not going to get the most gorgeous display with only bezels this big. You are going to have a little bit of plastic in the build of it. But if you get beyond those things, you are going to see two speakers on each side. You are going to see a USB-C port and a micro SD card slot. It's nice to see the micro SD card slot, but no headphone jack, I understand that. And one of the other compromises, there is no fingerprint sensor. Sure, if you do care about face unlock, the face unlock does not work very well either. So sure, there are some things that I don't like about this. But if you go beyond that, a lot of us, when we're looking for a tablet, we really just want two things. We want a really good performing device, and we want a really nice display. And that's really what you get here from this tablet. If you look at the display, of course, it's 11.2 inches in size. It's got a 2560 by 1536 resolution. And the fact that we get AMOLED here, again, super impressive. It does get 600 nits of peak brightness, and that's a little bit brighter than the P11 Gen 2. It's got HDR10+, it's got Dolby Vision. There's a lot to like here in this display. Like when I'm watching YouTube, it just looks good. It does look very good when I'm watching any entertainment or when I'm gaming on this device. Of course, when I'm scrolling around on this device as well, it does scroll very well because of that 120 Hz display. Again, a lot of devices out there like the Google Pixel tablet, they don't come with that. And even $800 iPhones aren't coming with 120 Hz displays. So seeing it in a tablet like this, that you could find around $300, it is super nice. Like, I am very blown away by it. And I'm also blown away by the performance because it does have a MediaTek processor. Again, that's something that a lot of people might say, oh, MediaTek, it must be really bad. Well, it's not going to be as good as some higher end devices, but it is a Companio 1300T. And the performance there is like very nice. And whenever you look at other tablets like the P11 Gen 2, the P11 Gen 2 was lagging behind a little bit when I used that. But this tablet, the Pro version, it is a lot nicer, and it does seem to go between apps and fly through it with no problem. It really just feels like one small step below those higher end flagship chips. It really seems very similar to something like a Snapdragon 778, like the processor from the Nothing Phone 1. It feels very similar in performance to that, or even similar to something like a Snapdragon 865, something around there. Like, this is flying through everything. I'm not having any issues. I'm having an absolute blast using this tablet. Whenever I'm scrolling through the news, whenever I'm going to Twitter, or wherever I go, I am not having any problems. And of course, when I'm gaming on this tablet, sure, it's not on the highest settings, but it's pretty close, and I'm having a really good experience. If you are a gamer on those very intense games, I understand you're gonna have to take a step down, and you're maybe gonna have to go to medium graphics on some games, so there are some compromises there too. But again, if you look at other tablets around $300, you're probably gonna be on low graphics on those tablets. So the fact that you're at around medium graphics on some games, the fact that games are flying through stuff, the fact that this tablet speeds through what it does, the fact that it does come with, yes, 4 gigs of RAM in the very base model, but if you do look at Lenovo's website, they do have different versions, and some versions are on sale more than others. You might find a version on sale that even has more RAM, so please check those listings, and a lot of versions even have 6 gigs of RAM from what I've seen. And this does have an 8200 milliamp battery too, by the way, so the battery life is pretty good on this tablet. I get around 7 or 8 hours depending on the day, so, and it does depend on what you're doing, of course. If you're gaming, that's gonna tank your battery life a little bit, but it's been a great experience even today. And this tablet, it did release with Android 12. Well, now we do have Android 13. Now, I have to admit, Lenovo does not have a great track record with Android updates. And if some things are broken or if there's bugs, they're often very slow to fix those things, or sometimes they don't. Face Unlock is one of those things because the P11 Gen 2, that device actually has better Face Unlock than the P11 Pro Gen 2. So it clearly seems like a software issue in my opinion, and the fact that they still haven't fixed that even with Android 13. Either way, I have to say I'm not super impressed with Lenovo's software track record. But the hardware, that is where Lenovo really gets ahead of Samsung, because for the same price, if you compare this to something like the Tab S7 FE, if you compare this to something like the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite 2022 or the S6 Lite 2020, this will blow it out of the water in a lot of ways. Like, this will be faster than a lot of those tablets. It's going to be faster than the S6 Lite especially, and you're also going to get a 120 Hz screen, which you did not get in the Tab S7 FE. You did not get that in the S6 Lite. And the fact that you get it here with OLED, which also the S6 Lite does not have OLED, it looks a lot worse on the display. So that's why Samsung, they really get behind Lenovo a lot of times when it comes to hardware. And Lenovo, they really try to one-up Samsung to give you better hardware for the money. And often Lenovo has a lot of really good sales on their devices. That's why I've seen this device drop to around $300 so often, because they really are pretty aggressive on the Lenovo website with sales. So please check those links, by the way, because I'm sure you might see this around $300, and even for $320 or $340, this P11 Pro Gen 2 is a pretty good deal. But as you've heard me talk, you've probably heard some of those drawbacks, and that's where you get around $300, you are going to find drawbacks in tablets, and that's just how it is. A lot of higher-end YouTubers, again, they're not even going to talk about this tablet. If they did, they would just say, oh, it's crap, and they would give you 1 or 2 reasons. Well, every device, especially around $300, it's going to have some flaws and some compromises, and a lot of people around this price are willing to live with those. So if you're someone out there, and if you're looking for a good bargain Android tablet, you want to spend around $300, and if you want a really good display and really good performance and decent battery life, you want 120 Hz, this is going to be terrific for you. Now, if you want extra accessories, maybe you want a keyboard on the side, this does have a keyboard cover, but it's very impossible to find. Lenovo seems to have it sold out quite a bit. You could check the links in the description again to see if it's in stock yet. So if you are someone who cares about accessories, I don't know really if those are going to go back in stock or not, but I will say that if you do care about speed, if you care about a nice display, I really think you're going to get that in this tablet, and it's going to be pretty good with even the speakers. I think the speakers are pretty good. You're going to get a good all-around experience here. You're not going to get a lot of bugs or a lot of hiccups. You just have to be willing to deal with some minor things. You have to be willing to deal with the software updates, maybe not being quite as fast as Samsung. And Lenovo, they also don't have as many software updates. So a lot of Samsung devices will get 3 or 4 years of software updates. Lenovo, they typically give you around 1 or so. But if you want a really good, fast Android tablet with a really great display, you want it to fly through a lot of stuff you're doing, but you just don't want to pay $400, $500, $600, I think this is a really good buy, especially if you find it around $300. Now, if you find it a little bit higher than that, maybe you find it around $350 or $400, maybe the Tab S9 FE would be a little bit of a better all-around tablet if you do find that one on sale, or if you find the Google Pixel tablet, you might find some extra things because it does come with an extra speaker in the box. So there are some other tablets around $400, especially with sales, that I would recommend. And there's a lot of devices around $500, $600, $700 that are going down in price. So sure, if you see some of those devices and they're similar in price, maybe they're both around $400, then yeah, I would probably get the Pixel tablet or the OnePlus Pad or one of those devices. But if you find this at a much lower price, like $100 cheaper, $150 cheaper, I think it's actually a really good buy, and it's still a good buy even in 2024 for those of you who are looking for a good value in a tablet. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully this updated review did help. I've still had a good experience with this tablet over time. I've enjoyed the new software features. I enjoy the new taskbar that's on Android 13. So there's been a lot to like with it, and there's not really a lot that I dislike. I just think there's some minor things that some people will consider. So if you like this, again, give me a like, give me a sub. That does help out my channel. You could also check those links in the description. That's another way to support me. And if you get a little bit of extra time, watch some extra videos, and that's another great way to support me. So have a great day, and I really hope you enjoy your week.